but we are into mock draft 2.0. Braden, I'll let you have the floor for mock draft 2.0.
Yeah. So, like I said in 1.0, Fernando Mendoza just will be the first overall pick. There is nothing that will change this, like at all, and we don't really even need to talk more about it. If you don't know about Fernando Mendoza at this point, how did you even get here? That's kind of where I stand on that. Arvel Reese at number two. I did actually remember to put him at the right spot this time, so that's fun. The Jets kind of just need help everywhere, and Arvel Reese kind of just is the next best player available. The only thing that could really drag him down is teams not really knowing whether he's more of a on like a. He doesn't have much experience off the edge, and he wasn't like the greatest off ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he ends up translating to the NFL game. But I think he's a heck of a talent. He will make it work pretty much no matter where he plays. At number three, sticking with what I had at 1.0, it is Francis Mauigoa to the Cardinals. They just need something on the line to help them at all right now. Whether he ends up playing tackle or guard at the next level, he will end up being a beast there either way. Number four, I have David Bailey going to the Tennessee Titans. It kind of sounds like there may be smoke that this is supposed to be Ruben Bain. I have it being David Bailey here. There's been a lot of smoke about Bailey going up a lot higher than I originally thought he would. I don't necessarily love him as a prospect. I think he's not really like a three down guy. I see him more as like a dedicated pass rusher. He did get a lot better in the run game this year, but still like what is he like 6'3", 250. So not super undersized, but not exactly like the best in run defense. Even against like Big 12 tackles, which Utah has those two really good ones, but no disrespect to the Big 12, obviously, big fan, but not exactly the highest end talent when compared to the NFL. So we'll see how that ends up translating. And number five, I have Caleb Downs going to the Giants. Tyler Nubin is not that great, and Caleb Downs just is somebody that could end up falling at the actual NFL draft, but he just is like a super instinctual, just really good leader on defense. The only problem is he plays safety, which has been proven time and time again to be supremely undervalued at the NFL level, especially like a box safety who's not the most versatile guy. But I think Downs has the talent to really, like, if there's going to be a box safety get drafted in the top five post Jamal Adams, it is going to be Caleb Downs at this point. That's kind of just where that is. At number six, I have Cardinal Tate out of Ohio State, staying in the state of Ohio, which is fun. But the Browns just need something at receiver. Cardinal Tate, I think, is pretty easily my wide receiver one right now. You can make the argument between Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson as well. Tyson's kind of iffy because of the injury concern. Will he even be like a top 20 pick? The talent is there, but if the medicals don't come back clean, it is going to be rough to see where he ends up actually landing. And Mekhi Lemon is just not like the prototypical receiver size, which we've seen recently not matter as much, but there are teams that are going to probably think about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns see Cardinal Tate at 6'3", Mekhi Lemon at 5'11", and be like, all right, let's take the 6'3" guy from Ohio State, which receiver from Ohio State. I know never scout the helmet, scout the player, but come on, you can do it a little bit. At number seven, I have Ruben Bain going to the Commanders. Been a bit of a problem about his arm length recently, but I mean, whether he ends up playing off the edge or moving inside, I think he's going to be a really good player at the next level. A lot of his game is kind of just based on his power, which obviously going against better talent, that kind of you kind of question whether that will translate, but I think he will be okay. And Dan Quinn really likes these bigger defensive linemen, I think. So I think he will fit in pretty well there. At number eight, I do have Mekhi Lemon going to the Saints. Just trying to help out that offense as much as you can with Tyler Shuck kind of proven to be. Tyler Shuck is your guy, so as much help as you can give him, I think the better. They moved away from Rashid Shaheed at the trade deadline. You can never trust Chris Olave to be healthy for more than 5 minutes without getting a concussion. And I really don't even know what else could possibly be going on in that receiver room. Mekhi Lemon automatically walks in and is at least the wide receiver 2. And once Chris Olave takes his first snap in training camp, will probably, unfortunately, be the wide receiver 1. Number 9, I told you, Chiefs fans, you're probably going to get tired of this, but if you know the player, you probably won't. It's Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. Will the Chiefs end up probably just going with a guy in free agency? Probably. But if they don't, I think Jeremiah Love is just leaps and bounds better than the next best running back in this class. So I think it makes sense that we've seen running back get valued a lot less in the NFL as of lately. Although Ashton Genty did end up going with the 6th overall pick last year, so maybe bucking that trend a little bit with the run game starting to be a lot more valuable. It seems like with defenses moving to more like deep, trying to protect against the deep ball. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up getting drafted, but I think he is, like, regardless of position, at least a top 3 talent in this class. It just is the problem with a lot of the other guys, especially for the top 3 guys that I mentioned, like Arvell Reese, linebacker, Caleb Downs, safety, Jeremiah Love, running back. These are positions that get undervalued a lot in the NFL draft, but whoever ends up taking that chance is going to get a heck of a guy with Jeremiah Love. And number 10, I kind of just went with who I think is the best defensive player available, and that is Peter Woods out of Clemson. Not exactly the best year last year, but I mean, his tape before this year was really good, and the Bengals just need something on that defensive line. Trey Hendrickson seems like a foregone conclusion he's never going to play for the Bengals again. They kind of just need something on the D-line, something on defense in general. Peter Woods is at least an attempt at that. Again, I would not be surprised if the Bengals bangle it again and end up going with like a Kendrick Falk or something just completely irrelevant to the defense. I don't mean that as shade at Kendrick Falk, by the way. That's just not really... I'm not super high on Kendrick Falk. Just not really like a... He kind of is a reverse David Bailey in a way, where he's like a super big guy, really good at stopping the run, just not a pass rusher at all. And that kind of just seems like the build of edge rusher that the Bengals kind of just like drafting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But right now I have Peter Woods. I think that's probably the pick that I'm the least confident in. But that's kind of just how the board fell, unfortunately, for him.
Great mock draft 2.0 by Braden. Spoiler alert, me and him are going to have similar mock drafts just for the next few weeks, just because there's not really much known right now. I have a couple differences in mind, but we have a few of the same players. Obviously, I'm not going to touch on Mendoza. I mean, I think he's like minus 20,000 or 30,000 on DraftKings right now to be the number 1 pick. This guy is being the number 1 pick. The Raiders are not trading this pick either. This is going to be the guy that the Raiders take at number 1. Like Braden mentioned, though, there is smoke of David Bailey getting drafted super high, higher than most would expect. I have him going number 2 to the Jets. This might be the Bill Simmons woe of the draft, but honestly, with some of the edge rushers in this draft, they all have some weakness to an extent. Bailey's kind of undersized. Arbo Reese, you don't really know where to play him. Ruben Bain, he's got the T-Rex arms. Like, you just don't really know with some of these guys. Bailey might have the highest upside, but Bailey might also have the lowest floor out of all these guys, just because not really refined as a pass rusher, not really big enough to stop the run. But I think the Jets are willing to take that chance and bolster up that defense. At number 3, me and Braden have both taken Francis. How did you say his last name? I don't want to butcher it again, but I would say Moyaga.
Noah. I think the UI, it's somewhere an N comes in with these like Samoan names. Okay. I don't know. I've heard it pronounced Maui Noah. That's how I've said it. I don't know if that's right or not. I'm sure I'm wrong, but that's my best guess. Okay,
so I have Francis Maui Noah going to the Cardinals. I think I've been saying Moyaga the last few weeks, and I apologize. But Francis Maui Noah going to the Cardinals. The Cardinals need to protect whoever their quarterback is going to be. While I don't think it's going to be Kyler this fall, they have to protect whoever they bring in the free agency or the draft. And Francis Maui Noga is probably the best offensive lineman in this draft. I have Arvell Reese going to the Titans. Robert Saleh gets that kind of tweener. I mean, he's not really. He could be an off ball, kind of be on the line. Like, just don't really know where to play him. But uh, Robert Saleh has had success when he takes Ohio State edge rushers, i.e., Nick Bosa. Granted, Nick Bosa was a one of a kind player coming out, but I think Tennessee likes that Ohio State fit. So I think Arvell Reese is a pretty good fit with the Titans. The Titans just need players on defense. They had one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. Me and Braden also have Caleb Downs going number 5 to the Giants. This is going to be the Giants' Kyle Hamilton, like what Harbaugh had in Baltimore. I think Downs is the best player in the draft. I think he's better than Mendoza. It's just the positional value is not there. I think this would be the highest a safety's been drafted, like Braden mentioned, since Jamal Adams. And Adams went number 7, but that was 9 years ago, which is crazy to believe. But Downs could potentially be the best guy 10 years from now, but the fact that he's a safety is really going to hinder his value of how high he could actually go. But it makes a lot of sense with the Giants. Harbaugh having Kyle Hamilton before, they like to have that safety. And the Giants defense is, while they lack some at the linebacker position, their like defensive line is really solid. You have Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. Like, you have like good players on the defensive line. So if you can just get some help in the secondary, it can really help out that a lot for the Giants. Uh, Different pick than Braden. I have Spencer Fanoa, the offensive tackle from Utah, going to the Browns. I've had receiver mocked to the Browns the last few weeks, but then I saw a thing that the entire starting offensive line for the Browns is free agents. They will not be with the team next year.
Oh, I'm gonna be
So
honest. I didn't know that.
yeah, I think all 5 starters, like including like Wyatt Teller, Joel Patonio, I think maybe DeJuan Jones is back, but maybe he's not. I thought it was that they were all free agents.
I know Wyatt Teller said that he wasn't coming back. I didn't know the entire offensive line was in free agency.
Yeah, I think that's the story I saw. I could be wrong, but if after I saw that, wide receiver becomes less of a need, even though it's a huge need for the Browns. You have to have someone blocking next year, and honestly, just take whoever the best offensive lineman is available. If Francis Moyaga is not there, then just take Spencer Fanoa. Either one of the Utah tackles is going to be fine, but I have him going to the Browns. Me and Braden both have Ruben Bain going to the Commanders. He wins a lot with his power, and the one knock is going to be his short arms. And honestly, I think before the Super Bowl, Ruben Bain was getting a lot of buzz of going like 2 or 3. But man, people saw what Will Campbell and those short arms did in the Super Bowl. It may have lowered Ruben Bain's stock, even though Ruben Bain didn't even play in that game, just because arm length is a real thing when you're on the edge in the NFL. Uh, so that might hinder his performance at the next level, but he is an absolute freak of nature and should dominate anywhere he ends up going. I have Jeremiah Love going to the Saints. I expect them to move on from Alvin Kamara, and even if they don't, like you mentioned, Braden, Jeremiah Love is the best running back in this class. I don't know if he's a better prospect than Genty, but I think it's certainly an argument. Um, again, you got to give Tyler Shuck any help you can on the offensive side of the ball. Now, if you have Jeremiah Love, Chris Olave, maybe they get another wide receiver in free agency or the draft to pair with Shuck, then the Saints offense could be kind of formidable and kind of could get some stuff going. But I think Jeremiah Love would be an absolutely great pick for the Saints. I have Carnell Tate going as the first wide receiver to the Kansas City Chiefs. With all the questions that the Chiefs have at the receiver position, with Rashid Rice and his off the field stuff, with Worthy kind of regressing in year 2, and who knows if Tyreek Hill is end up gonna, if he signs with them, cool. If not, I still think this is a great pick. I think the only wide receiver under roster for 2027 is Jalen Royals. So you like it might be Royals and Worthy, but even then, Worthy has been so up and down for Kansas City that you can't really rely on him to be like your alpha wide receiver. I think Carnell Tate could be your wide receiver 1 for the future. And so I think that would be the pick for Kansas City. And then for number 10, I have Manoer Delane, the corner out of LSU, going to the Bengals. The Bengals have addressed, I shouldn't say have addressed, they have invested in the defensive line in their first round picks over the last few years. Miles Murphy comes to mind. Shamar Stewart comes to mind. So maybe they look towards corner because honestly, anywhere on that defense needs help. But I think corner right now is just a huge glaring need if you're the Bengals. But honestly, anywhere on defense, this is a defensive pick no matter what. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals,